Recording in progress.
Hi guys, my name's Rebecca and I am the CEO and founder of the Film Festival Doctor. Welcome to my YouTube channel and the first episode of my new series, The Film Festival Doctor's Guide to Navigating the Festival Circuit. So I am going to, over these 3 episodes, show you how to prepare yourself and your film for entering the festival circuit, how to prepare submissions, how to use Film Freeway and the platforms, and how to have the best mindset. So episode 1 is going to feature all about how to have the best mindset and also the key important things that you need to remember as you go on this journey, because it's a fun journey, but it's not straightforward. So let me show you the first slide. I'm going to share my screen and take you through the key points you've got to know. So let me just go into the slideshow on current side. Okay, so I'm going to go through some key things with you and give you a taster of the most important things to remember about the film festival circuit. Now, the first thing is, and this is true, is that festivals do provide an abundance of opportunities for you and your film. Now, these are the festivals, obviously, which are the good festivals. There are festivals that are not good, that are, not well managed and aren't very strong, or there's other issues behind the scenes. But the good festivals are great, and they provide lots of opportunities for you. These are predominantly networking, obviously meeting other filmmakers who are like-minded with their films, great potential for collaboration. One of my filmmakers met some other female filmmakers at Lady Filmmakers Festival in LA, and they are now making their first short film as a team together with a new production company. So that can happen. You can meet anybody there. You can meet potentially, sometimes investors if you're lucky. You can meet sales agents. You can meet loads of people, but they all can be in some way useful to you. And it's really good to meet local filmmakers as well, who are close to home as well. Also, you can win awards at festivals. Now, not every festival is competitive, but most of the time they are. And some festivals which are Oscar qualified, if you win the Oscar qualifying award, that can be Best of Fest or Best Animation, whatever award that is that festival has, that means you can submit to the Oscars. So there are some, clearly from that, very important, useful awards there. And exposure. Obviously getting your film seen on the big screen to a wide audience and to industry professionals, local, whoever it's going to be, it's getting seen, it's getting appreciated, it's getting watched. You get a chance to do a Q&A, you can celebrate the film and connect with people. So, and also this is exposure, not just locally, but all over the world potentially. So, you can have global exposure, global networking, and awards from all over the world. Festivals are international, and they will always stay that way. They are good stepping stones to help you achieve your goals. We talk more about goals in episode 2, but that's what they are, a very important and big stepping stone to help you on your journey to growing and more success. Now, this is the key thing where things get a bit more nitty-gritty. So it's very important to remember that during this process, when it comes to film festival submissions and touring the circuit and getting your film into festivals and organizing screenings, that every film festival is different. They kind of have their own type of personality in terms of how they communicate with filmmakers, for example. So some festivals are very organized with their details of communications. They tell you in an email exactly what they want and when. They give you a link to upload the materials. They give you all the information you might ask. Everything is very structured and very focused. And that's great because everything will take you, less time, and it's all there for you in one email. Some go back and forth, some are dribs and drabs. Some you might have to chase yourself. Some aren't clear because of a language barrier. So sometimes you get way too many emails or you get too little. So it's very important just to accept this and be able to maneuver around each festival and treat each festival differently and not expect the same kind of communication and organization from each one. Also, they're different in terms of what they expect from you. Some festivals do request that somebody is there from the film to do a Q&A or be there for an awards. I mean, it's not that frequent, but it does happen. Some festivals expect you just to have the post sent to them with their log only, which also is fine. Again, they're all different. Nothing wrong with that, just how they're all different. Some festivals, you'll see how they program their festival are very different to other festivals. Some focus on a particular genre. Some focus on films that are a bit more safer for maybe an elderly audience. Again, so they're all different. You can't really predict what's going to happen and when because of how they are, because it's all, there's no big rule book they've got to follow. Also, festivals are different in terms of what they look for. So some festivals tend to program films that can be maybe more edgy and, taking a risk and more art house for their audience. Some are more accessible because their audience could be older. Some are very focused to a certain age. They have to work around the films that would appeal and be safe. And also, as I mentioned earlier, not all of them are competitive. Some festivals, well, actually, most of them are competitive and have awards, but some don't because they don't believe in them. So again, the golden rule here is that there is no one size fits all. And yes, there are politics. Now, politics is everywhere in every industry, not just in film festivals, but I'm sure you're aware of this. There's politics everywhere in the world. I mean, every state you live in, for example, is going to have, some issues. Nothing is linear, but there are politics. Sometimes you see films that aren't great and thought, how did that get in there? But it could be because, a sponsor needs to put it in, or, it just fits a theme and they can then fill the program to be an hour and a half or 2 hours, or it shows really good promise to come together, but it's got something interesting in there, so there's many politics to have to work around. And that's well known. And yes, sometimes some festivals don't watch films, which does happen, but it's one of those things where you just have to work around. And, if you have evidence they haven't watched it, then you can obviously complain. But it does happen, not all the time, but it can happen. Because again, that golden rule, every festival is different. I'll keep saying this as I go along because it's true. Every film festival is different. They have not been given, when they sign up to make a film festival, sign up their, the copyright or their website, a magical rule book they have to follow in a certain order. Obviously, they have to, be as ethical as they can, but there isn't a rule book or a guidebook. They pretty much just make it up on their own terms. I mean, as I say, nothing wrong with that. It's just it's not a linear process, and that's what you need to adapt your mindset to. Now, also another big thing is that some festivals do not have a premiere policy, whereas some do. Now, there are very few festivals that require a world premiere. That tends to be for Cannes. Berlin prefers that. Other festivals prefer that too, like Locarno, Venice, TIFF, those kind of ones. The big five do. Sundance don't for shorts, but features different story. But you'll find that it's a lot more relaxing when it comes to premiere policies for short films. They tend to be premiere policies for shorts are more like the city, state, town, more than it is the country. Sometimes it might happen depending upon how big the festival is. But again, it's important to read the terms and conditions. So for example, over here where I'm based in Dallas, wonderful Dallas Film Festival has a Dallas premiere policy. So does the USA Film Festival, but they haven't got a premiere policy Dallas for shorts. That's just for features. But it's not world or international, or it's not Texas based. South by Southwest prefers world, but they can be flexible depending on what the product is. And also also in LA, there's a lot of festivals in LA. Not all of them have world premieres at all. I mean, very few. Dance with Films do prioritize world premiere, but they could be flexible for North America. Again, it's just having to work around terms and conditions. You'll find that some festivals have premiere policies for features, but not shorts. The London Film Festival used to have a premiere policy for shorts, but that has now been waived. But they are a little bit more, not as flexible with the feature. So it's just working around the festival. So always check the T's and C's, but do not assume that every festival has a world premiere or even has a premiere. You just need to check, okay? That's a crucial thing. Also, you'll find during this process, as you start submitting your film to festivals, that all festivals have different perceptions of how long a short film and a feature film are. So some festivals have a maximum duration to submit to for a short film that can be 15 minutes or 20 or 25 or 30 or 35 or 40 or 45 or 50 or 55. So they all vary in their perceptions. I mean, any short film that is a longer short film, you know, might not be able to get into every single festival on the wish list because it might have cut points of 15, 20, and 25. But you'll find that if you have a film that's 55 minutes, it might go into being programmed as a short and a feature in some festivals. Again, the perceptions are different and what they perceive a short film and feature film to be. Some feature film durations can be, some people say minimum of an hour, minimum of an hour 10, minimum of an hour 15, or sometimes they say up to 3 hours maximum, so you've got more flexibility. So it all depends upon, again, the festival, because they're all different. But basically, in my book, a short film to me is between 1 and 40 minutes. But again, with a festival, it can be a bit different. Sometimes people classify a longer short to be up to 50 minutes, or in between a featurette, which is between 15 minutes and 50. So again, it's looking the T's and C's of the festival and what they perceive to be a short and feature film length, because they're all going to vary. Now, here's an important thing. Your film does not need to be exactly 15 minutes or 90 minutes. A lot of people do come and say to me, look, I hear the film needs to be 15 minutes, so mine's 14, should I make another minute? Or mine's 17, should I make it 15? The golden rule is your film needs to be the length it needs to be. If it's 15 minutes but could be 13, make it 13. If it's 15 minutes and needs to be longer, make it a bit longer. If it's 30 minutes, it needs to be 30 minutes, keep it at 30 minutes. The golden rule here is to ensure that you kill your darlings and that there's no dead air in the film, and every scene counts and adds something to the narrative. If you're going to say in the one scene the same thing, different word in the next scene, that it's not going to progress the narrative further or get to the action. With a short, get to the action, get to the, the whole point of it. You need to keep, running around the houses and saying the same thing, different words. Keep it clear and keep it sharp. If any film feels too long, sometimes it can be too long because it's repetitive and doesn't develop the characters because it's just a bit stagnant and it doesn't really progress any further. So make sure that you forget about the 15-minute mark and just, do the first cut of the film. If it needs to be shorter, make it shorter. If it still needs to be longer, make it longer. Don't worry too much about 15 minutes. You'll find that if the film is longer, it might, be obviously harder to program. Any short film that is a longer short film will be harder to program. That's a fact. But it still means it has potential because it needs to be that length. So other films that need to be shorter than half an hour, then your film would have more of an inch because it needs to be that length. Same with a feature. I don't know about a first feature being 3 hours, but making sure it's the right length is crucial. It needs to be 90 minutes, great. It needs to be 20, and it needs to be 80 minutes, an hour 20, so be it. It needs to be an hour 40, so be it. It's the golden rule of making sure every scene counts, there's no dead air, and things progress and the narrative develops. So your film needs to be the length it needs to be. That's the golden rule. Now, clearly by now, I'm sure it's obvious at this point in this episode that clearly this is not a linear, straightforward process. It's very important to be flexible. And so some festivals might have language barrier issues when communicating with you. You could get a bit frustrated by that because it's like, we're just trying to say something, or they say the same thing in different email, or they do a big general email to everybody and it's hard for you to keep up, or they're very long emails, or they ask for things again, or, so it's important just to be patient, flexible, and also pay close attention to detail regarding what they want and when they want it. So it's a good idea at this stage, whilst you're thinking about doing the festival circuit, is to have somebody in your team who can help you with this, an assistant or an intern, or if you have a big team, then somebody can help you as the festival intern would be really, really good. Because obviously you as the filmmaker are probably swamped with other films and busy and God knows what else. I mean, you've not just got one film on your portfolio. So it's very important that there is a system in place with your company infrastructure and you have help. If though you've just had the one film and that's your project and you've got other things in the pipeline and you're focused on this, then great. Just make sure that you do get into routine where, say, every Monday or start of the week, you focus on festivals and see what needs to be followed up, and you get things done as soon as they come in, so it doesn't make you feel overwhelmed. If your film becomes a festival darling and you get into loads of festivals, then you're going to be busy. So it's important to have an infrastructure in place during this process to make it as smooth as possible, and for you to be able to adapt and work around festivals and how they work. And the final point, this is the hardest thing. This could be really hard. Let go of control and desired outcome. And do not look at Film Freeway every single day. We talk more about Film Freeway in episode 3, but for now, do not look at it every single day because it will drive you mad. And the reason why I say that is because there's a section on the dashboard. Again, we'll go through this in more detail, but the section on the dashboard, if you don't know what that is, but if you have an account, you'll know on a dashboard that it does tell you notification dates approaching. I had one filmmaker that every day would message me going, we're going to hear today, today's the day. You need to take that with a pinch of salt. You might find out before that date via email and not via Film Freeway. You might not find out until after the festival. You might find out a few days after the festival's run, or when the notification date. You might find out on the day they say. You can't take that as the gospel truth because it's not. So again, very important to really ignore that part of Film Freeway, and instead do not get attached to a desired outcome, wanting certain types of festivals to get the outcome that you want. Be flexible, let go of control, and be open to other stuff that might come in that you weren't thinking of. Having a straight perception of I want this, that, and the other, and that can actually block things from coming in, but it also gets more stressful because festivals are unpredictable. Sometimes you think, well, the film's a no-brainer to get selected, and it doesn't. It could be because there's a film that was similar to yours and it was just, tossing a coin, or it's just not right for the audience as it might seem, or there's some problems that they found, whatever. So it's important to not expect anything and instead be open to some other stuff that might come in that were better opportunities for you. When one door closes, another door opens, always the way. And that's the same thing with festivals. So it's really important that you have the mindset of slow and steady wins the race. Be positive. Do not take things personally. Do not take rejection personally. It's very rare nowadays because they didn't like the film. It's because there's not enough room for it, or other reasons beyond your control. But rarely is it we don't like this filmmaker and their vision. It's more a case that we probably loved it. We just can't find a bit of room for it, what to do with it. There's many reasons why, and you just cannot guess. You cannot guess it. And it is a long, slow process. Things do not happen overnight. When you submit early bird, you might not find out for a couple of months later, before 5 months later, or 6 months. You just have to trust in the process. You've done your best, done the best you can with the film, got the best strategy, you've done what you need to do, you've done everything early, you're sorted. So let it, what will be, and focus on other things that can distract you from Film Freeway and the festival strategy. So that's the key things for today's episode. So I'll summarize now. Be flexible, adapt to the process, don't have desired outcome, don't attach yourself to a certain outcome, don't try and control the process, be open. Please ensure that you make sure the final cut of the film is the length it needs to be, not what you think it should be or what you hear through the grapevine. Do not worry about premieres too much because you can work around them, and they're not all world premieres. And bear in mind that festivals are here to help you, just there could be communication issues. So thank you very much for joining me for episode 1. Next week, join me for episode 2. I'll be going through the all-important film festival strategy checklist. Have fun, and I'll see you soon.